What if I told you that 3 simple habits you do every single day are slowly enlarging your prostate and stealing your masculine vitality? Most men over 60 think prostate growth is just inevitable aging, but that is completely wrong. Truth is, these habits are so common that doctors rarely warn you about them, yet they are silently destroying your quality of life. I am Dr. Eva Hart, a certified urologist with 14 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their masculine health naturally. I have worked with hundreds of men who felt hopeless about their declining vitality, and I have seen remarkable transformations when they eliminate these 3 dangerous habits. Here is what I want you to understand: this is not your fault. You were never taught that these everyday behaviors could be sabotaging your prostate health. The medical system focuses on treating symptoms with pills and procedures, but rarely addresses the root causes that you can control right now. This topic is rarely discussed openly because it touches on deeply personal aspects of masculine health. But your silence is costing you more than just physical comfort. When your prostate grows, it affects your sleep, your confidence, your relationship with your partner, and your sense of being a strong, capable man. In this video, I will reveal the 3 worst habits that contribute to prostate growth after 60, and more importantly, I will show you natural alternatives that can help restore your masculine vitality without expensive treatments or invasive procedures. This is about more than just prostate health. This is about reclaiming your energy, your confidence, and your identity as a man who still has control over his body and his life. Stay with me until the end because the 3rd habit I will share might shock you. It is something that 90% of men do daily, thinking it is healthy, but it is actually accelerating prostate growth. And if this topic resonates with you, share in the comments what exactly speaks to you. Your experience might help another man who is struggling with the same challenges. If you are ready to subscribe, hit that button now because I share life-changing information like this every week. But first, let me tell you about something that is happening to your prostate every single time you settle into your favorite chair. Let me tell you about something that is quietly happening to most men over 60, and chances are you are doing it right now as you watch this video. You are sitting. And while that might seem harmless, prolonged sitting is one of the most destructive habits for prostate health that no one talks about. Here is what happens inside your body when you sit for hours every day. Your pelvis becomes a stagnant pool. Blood flow to your prostate decreases dramatically, creating the perfect environment for inflammation and tissue growth. Think of it like a garden hose that gets kinked. When blood cannot flow freely through your pelvic region, toxins accumulate, nutrients cannot reach the prostate tissue, and cellular repair slows down. The modern lifestyle has turned most men into prisoners of their chairs. We sit during breakfast, sit during commutes, sit at work for 8 hours, sit during dinner, and sit in front of the television until bedtime. Your prostate never gets a break from this constant pressure and restricted blood flow. When you sit, the weight of your upper body compresses the nerves and blood vessels that supply your prostate. This compression creates a cascade of problems: reduced oxygen delivery, impaired waste removal, and increased inflammatory chemicals. Over months and years, this chronic compression literally suffocates your prostate tissue. I had a patient named Robert, 64 years old, who came to me desperate and embarrassed. He was waking up 6 times every night to urinate, and during the day, he felt like his bladder was never truly empty. Robert worked as an accountant and spent 10 to 12 hours daily at his desk. He told me with tears in his eyes that he felt like he was losing control of his own body. The shame was eating him alive. Robert stopped going to movies because he was afraid of needing the bathroom multiple times during films. He avoided long car rides with his wife because he was constantly worried about finding restrooms. His social life was shrinking because he was perpetually anxious about his unpredictable urinary urgency. Robert confided that he felt like less of a man. Constant interruptions during intimate moments with his wife created distance in their relationship. He was exhausted from broken sleep, irritable during the day, and losing hope that things could ever improve. Robert had begun to accept that this was simply his new reality. When I explained how prolonged sitting was choking his prostate with poor circulation, he was shocked. No doctor had ever connected his desk job to his prostate problems. We started with simple changes, standing every 30 minutes, taking short walks during lunch breaks, and doing gentle pelvic exercises throughout the day. The initial resistance was real. Robert worried about productivity, about looking strange to coworkers, about disrupting his established routines. But within 2 weeks, he noticed small improvements. His urgency decreased slightly, and he was able to sleep for longer periods without interruption. Within 6 weeks, Robert was sleeping through the night again. He called me crying happy tears, saying he felt like himself again. Transformation was not just physical. He regained his confidence, his energy, and his sense of masculine control. His wife told me later that she had her husband back. The solution is simpler than you might think, but it requires consistent action. Set a timer for every 30 minutes throughout your day. Stand up, walk around for just 2 minutes, and do 5 gentle pelvic tilts. This small change can dramatically improve blood flow to your prostate and reduce inflammation. Research shows that men who interrupt prolonged sitting with regular movement have significantly healthier prostate function and fewer urinary symptoms. Your body was designed to move, not to remain stationary for hours. Every time you stand and move, you are literally pumping fresh, healing blood through your prostate tissue. If you are reading this and it resonates with you, type plus in the comments. It is important for me to know that this information is helping you understand your prostate health better. But movement alone is not enough if you are still feeding your prostate inflammation every single day. What I am about to share next will completely change how you think about your daily meals. I have noticed something troubling in my years of practice, and it breaks my heart every time I see it. Countless men tell me the same thing during consultations. They eat what they think is a healthy diet, yet their prostate symptoms keep getting worse. Truth is, modern food has become a minefield of prostate-damaging ingredients that most men consume without realizing the connection. Processed foods, refined sugars, and trans fats create a constant state of inflammation in your body. Your prostate sits right in the center of this inflammatory storm. When you eat these foods regularly, you are essentially feeding the growth of prostate tissue. It is like pouring fertilizer on weeds and then wondering why your garden is overrun. The mechanism is straightforward but devastating. These inflammatory foods spike your insulin levels, which triggers the production of insulin-like growth factor. This growth factor directly stimulates prostate cell division and enlargement. At the same time, these foods suppress your body's natural ability to regulate healthy cell growth and repair damaged tissue. Most men do not realize that their breakfast cereal, their sandwich bread, their afternoon snacks, and their dinner sides are all contributing to prostate inflammation. These foods have become so normalized in our culture that we forget they are actually highly processed chemical cocktails designed for shelf life and profit margins, not human health. The inflammatory cascade works like this. You eat processed food, your blood sugar spikes, insulin floods your system, inflammatory chemicals are released, and your prostate tissue becomes a target for this systemic inflammation. Day after day, meal after meal, you are unknowingly creating the perfect environment for prostate enlargement. One gentleman I worked with, Michael, 67, was consuming what he thought was a heart-healthy diet. Whole grain cereals with skim milk, low-fat processed lunch meats, diet sodas, and frozen dinners labeled as healthy options. He could not understand why his prostate symptoms were worsening despite following his primary care doctor recommendations for heart health. Michael felt betrayed by his own body and confused about what he was doing wrong. He had been told that these foods were good choices for men his age, yet his prostate was growing larger and his symptoms were becoming more severe every month. The frustration was overwhelming. The emotional toll was devastating. Michael stopped enjoying meals with his family because eating had become associated with guilt and confusion. He felt like every food choice was a potential mistake. His relationship with his wife became strained because he was constantly irritable and anxious about his health decisions. Michael began to withdraw from social situations that involved food. He declined dinner invitations, avoided restaurants, and felt embarrassed about his dietary restrictions. Food, which should bring joy and nourishment, had become a source of stress and fear. When we eliminated processed foods and focused on anti-inflammatory whole foods, His symptoms improved dramatically within 8 weeks. Michael discovered that food could be medicine instead of poison. His energy returned, his mood stabilized, and his prostate inflammation decreased significantly. We replaced his processed breakfast with eggs, avocado, and berries. His lunch became wild-caught salmon with leafy greens. Dinner featured grass-fed beef or organic chicken with roasted vegetables. These changes provided powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that actively fought prostate inflammation. The natural solution is to focus on foods that fight inflammation instead of fueling it. Omega-3 rich fish like salmon and sardines provide essential fatty acids that reduce prostate inflammation. Leafy greens like spinach and kale contain compounds that support healthy prostate function. Berries provide antioxidants that protect prostate tissue from damage. Nuts and seeds, especially pumpkin seeds and walnuts, contain zinc and healthy fats that are crucial for prostate health. These foods provide natural compounds that actually help shrink prostate inflammation and support healthy tissue function. Science confirms that men who follow an anti-inflammatory diet have significantly slower rates of prostate growth and fewer urinary symptoms. Studies show that men eating primarily whole, unprocessed foods have 40% less prostate inflammation compared to men eating standard processed diets. This is not about perfect eating or restrictive diets. This is about making conscious choices that support your masculine health instead of undermining it. Your grocery cart is either working for you or against you. Every meal is an opportunity to either feed prostate growth or fight it naturally. But here is where it gets really interesting and potentially controversial. Even if you perfect your diet and movement, there is still one habit that can undo all your progress. And you probably think this habit is actually good for you. Here is what most doctors will not tell you about prostate health, and it might be the most important information you receive today. Chronic stress and poor sleep are not just quality of life issues. They are direct contributors to prostate enlargement, and the connection is more powerful than most men realize. When you live in a constant state of stress or sleep deprivation, your body produces elevated levels of cortisol and inflammatory chemicals. These substances create a hormonal environment that accelerates prostate growth. Think of stress as a slow poison that accumulates in your prostate tissue over months and years, gradually enlarging the gland and worsening your symptoms. The modern world keeps men in a perpetual state of fight-or-flight response. Work pressures, financial concerns, family responsibilities, health worries, political tensions, and social changes all contribute to chronic stress activation. Your nervous system never gets a chance to rest and repair. Meanwhile, your prostate is paying the price for this constant state of emergency. Here is the devastating cycle. Stress enlarges your prostate, which worsens your sleep, which increases your stress, which further enlarges your prostate. Many men find themselves trapped in this downward spiral without understanding how to break free. Poor sleep makes everything worse. When you do not get deep, restorative sleep, your body cannot produce adequate testosterone or growth hormone. These hormones are essential for maintaining healthy prostate function and regulating tissue growth. Without them, your prostate tissue becomes more susceptible to inflammation and abnormal enlargement. Sleep fragmentation from frequent urination creates additional stress hormones. Each time you wake up to urinate, your body interprets this as a threat and releases stress chemicals. You end up in a vicious cycle where prostate symptoms disrupt sleep, and poor sleep worsens prostate symptoms. I worked with a man named Thomas, 71, who was getting only 4 to 5 hours of broken sleep each night due to work stress and financial worries. Thomas was waking up every 2 hours to urinate, feeling exhausted and defeated every morning. He was shocked when I explained that his sleep problems were directly connected to his worsening prostate symptoms. Thomas had spent his entire life taking care of everyone else. He worked long hours to provide for his family, worried constantly about his children's future, and never prioritized his own rest and recovery. The chronic stress had become such a normal part of his life that he did not realize it was slowly destroying his prostate health. The emotional burden was crushing him. Thomas felt like he was failing as a provider because his energy was declining. He was irritable with his family, struggling to concentrate at work, and losing the sense of strength and capability that had defined his identity as a man. Thomas confided that he felt like he was becoming a burden to his wife. The frequent bathroom trips were disrupting her sleep too. He was embarrassed about his declining physical capabilities and worried that he was losing his masculine appeal and strength. We focused on stress reduction techniques and sleep hygiene rather than medications. We started with simple breathing exercises, creating a peaceful bedtime routine, and setting boundaries around work-related stress. Thomas was skeptical that such simple changes could make a real difference. Transformation was remarkable and happened faster than Thomas expected. As his sleep improved, his prostate symptoms decreased. Within 6 weeks, he started sleeping 7 hours straight without waking up to urinate. His energy returned, his mood improved, and he felt like the strong, capable man he had always been. Thomas discovered that quality sleep was like a reset button for his entire hormonal system. His testosterone levels improved, his stress hormones decreased, and his prostate inflammation began to resolve naturally. The man who had felt defeated and exhausted became energetic and optimistic again. The natural approach involves activating your body relaxation response through specific techniques. Deep breathing exercises for 10 minutes before bed can significantly reduce cortisol levels. Creating a dark, cool sleep environment supports natural melatonin production. Gentle meditation or progressive muscle relaxation helps transition your nervous system from stress mode to recovery mode. Research shows that men who practice stress management techniques have significantly better prostate health outcomes. Studies demonstrate that quality sleep directly correlates with reduced prostate inflammation and improved urinary function. This habit might seem impossible to change, especially if you have lived with chronic stress for years, but small steps create massive results. Even 10 minutes of daily relaxation can begin to reverse years of stress-induced prostate damage. What you need to understand is that your prostate health is not separate from your overall well-being. Everything is connected. Your movement, your nutrition, your stress levels, and your sleep quality all work together to either support or undermine your masculine vitality. What I want you to understand is that your prostate has an incredible capacity for healing when you remove the obstacles and provide the right support. These 3 habits create a toxic environment that forces your prostate to grow as a protective response. When you eliminate these habits, you allow your body's natural healing mechanisms to function properly. Research confirms that lifestyle interventions can be as effective as medications for managing prostate symptoms, but without the side effects. Studies show that men who address sitting, diet, and stress together see the most dramatic improvements in prostate health and overall masculine vitality. Your body is constantly trying to heal and repair itself. Every cell in your prostate is replaced regularly through natural processes. When you provide the right environment through proper circulation, anti-inflammatory nutrition, and adequate rest, your prostate can literally rebuild itself with healthier tissue. These 3 habits work together against your prostate health. Prolonged sitting restricts blood flow, inflammatory foods feed tissue growth, and chronic stress accelerates enlargement. But you have complete control over all 3. Start with one habit today. Set that timer to stand every 30 minutes. Choose anti-inflammatory foods. Practice deep breathing for 10 minutes tonight. Your masculinity can be restored naturally. Your prostate can function better. But it requires taking action on what you have learned. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button and share this video. Drop a comment below sharing which habit you are committed to changing first. Remember, your best years are not behind you. They are waiting for you to reclaim them naturally.